Hey guys, welcome to another episode 68 for those of you counting. And if you're not, that's okay. But we got another episode tonight. If you missed our last episode, we talked a little bit about juggling life and juggling hunting and juggling kind of whatever else may come our way. So if you kind of that piques your interest a little bit, feel free to jump back and listen to episode 67. And and then I'd like to give another shout out for all those that have liked our videos. We appreciate it. It sounds a little cheesy, but it kind of lifted the spirits of me and Eric a little bit. To actually have some likes and some comments on our video. Both of us were pretty stoked. I know it sounds maybe I don't know what the proper word is, immature or childish or whatever, but it's fun to feel that love a little bit. we enjoy it, and hopefully you guys are really enjoying it too. But thanks, we appreciate it. um, and then it's because of the comments that have been left in one of our episodes that we're going to be talking about what brought up the topic for tonight, and or the topic of the discussion, how our discussion is going to be led and directed. And what that was we the guy commented, and we asked him, like, hey, what would you want to hear from us talking about? And he says, oh, hunting rigs. And so we kind of took that like, oh, all right, yeah, that's both of us love rigs or trucks if you want, and that we could probably go hours talking about it, but we have a couple ideas jotted down, and hopefully you know direct some of you to what to look for, maybe what not look for, and or what something you want to do to your rig. I think that's going to be some of our discussion tonight. uh but I guess with that being said, we'll kind of dive into it, and I'll kind of start, I guess, a little bit about hunting. For me, when first thinking about hunting, you go, deep backwoods, 4x4, all terrain, ATVs, razors, something that's going to get you in there deep, and get you back out, and get places that people haven't been to. But I'll say that I've been a hunter that has hunted out of a car for a lot of years. Haven't had a truck, or I had a like truck or 4x4 for a little bit. So going up and down the mountain, I was the dude that you looked at and been, how'd you get here? I will say I've crossed some mud holes and some ruts and some roads and some rocks that were pretty questionable, and I had to be really careful, and I probably shouldn't have been going where I was going, but I was trying to shave off a couple miles of my hike, so I did it. but but I think you'll probably hear us say it a lot through. I feel like it's kind of our struggling hunters mantra. Whatever it is you need to do to get out hunting, do it. That's the bottom line. If your car can't make it, your vehicle can't make it very far, study the maps, study your Onyx base map or whatever, Google Earth, understand where places you can get your car, and try to understand where whatever it is you're going to be hunting might like to be. That's what I did for years, and I've been successful, more or less. I pulled some animals out, and but yeah. So with that, what you want to have anything to add to that, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, kind of what you said is getting out there with any vehicle you can. I mean, I've seen all kinds of vehicles out there in the deep woods. A couple times it might have been Joe's vehicle, as a matter of fact. I've seen guys take their grandma's old beater car with no back windows and a blanket jammed in the doorway to get them out in the woods. I mean, I've seen all kinds of vehicles. And so when it comes to vehicles, I mean, it's just about, however you can get out there. Obviously the city transport buses don't quite take you out to the woods where you need to go, but if you can get out there, just get out there. I think me and Joe, especially in our more recent years, I mean, we'll use the vehicle a little bit, but most of the time it's kind of parked and we're just taking off from camp. I mean, I guess kind of goes both ways there because we've done both. I mean, we've grabbed the vehicle and tried to get to a new area if the area that we're at isn't quite panning out for us. So, but for the most part, though, we try to just kind of hoof it on foot. But we get out there in the middle of the woods, and that's kind of our main objective. Uh, with that said, though, like kind of moving forward, I mean, I think everybody has their own ideals, and uh, for me, I know there's a few things that I want to do in the future for my vehicles. One of them is, I mean, I guess you could call it a vehicle, but I wouldn't mind actually getting a four wheeler down the road, uh, just to just to be able to kind of to those places that get to those places a little bit faster than in your vehicle, or more conveniently get over to those places.
Well, then you're not
Uh,
doing all the wear and tear on your vehicle either, too. But
yeah.
I'll say that I've gotten into a couple positions as far as like my camping spot,
Hmm.
and I wanted to go to other areas, and like Eric said, I'd use my vehicle to leave camp. And one spot I remember camping, and it was like, not going over big rocks, but I had to like kind of rock crawl to leave the area that I camped. I didn't really think much of it at the time, but I probably shouldn't have camped there. But so it was like slow going in and slow going out. So I was losing time. I had to get up earlier, and it took me longer to get back to my camp. But if I had a four wheeler, like that, crawling over, like it wasn't like a severe rock crawl, but I had to slow down. But it would have been nice to have a four wheeler, so my vehicle wasn't taking the wear and the tear.
Yeah. That kind of happened to me last year after everybody left and I was out there by myself. Uh, I took off in the pickup. I wanted to go a little bit deeper from where I was. I wanted to try to make it to the bottom, and I started heading down that way, and I didn't get into anything extreme, but it just seemed like the worst conditions it was, and so I kind of came to a point, and I was like, I think I'm just going to turn around here because the road was getting more narrow and a little more muddy and sloppy, and I'm like, I'm out here by myself. If I get in a position where I can't turn around or get stuck or whatever, I mean, it's just going to be a really long day. So I decided to turn around. I was a little bummed out, and that's whenever it really kind of hit me, and I'm like, man, I wish I had like a four wheeler or something so I could just do it that way, but kind of get to a different area that way. But with the four wheeler, I mean, uh, I know one thing that I'm gonna do beforehand. Thing that I want is I currently have a Toyota Tacoma, and I I I have some big plans for it in the future. I'm in the I'm gonna I'm not selling it or getting rid of it to up and off road and get a lift. I want to get a lift for it. I want to get um what else? I guess bigger tires and kind of just build it up that way. But one other thing that I want to get is those bed racks. I want to get some of those on the side or that go in the back of the bed. But another thing that I'm really excited about looking into, and this is all going to be over time. There's no like time limit that I'm going to do this or anything. And some of it's kind of a pretty big investment. I was looking into those bed racks, and I couldn't believe how expensive they were for what they are. Uh, but another thing is one of those. those toolboxes that where the drawers slide out in the back of the bed.
Yeah.
And there's this company called Decked. If you want to check it out, just type in deck.com, and they have this whole setup that is pretty cool. It They say that it takes on a 2,000-pound payload, so you could still put quite a bit of stuff on top of it, and the drawers will slide out just fine. The other thing is it's waterproof but not quite weatherproof, and so the downfall is if you're driving on a dusty road or something, you can get some dust in there. So don't really have anything too valuable, but you could have, you know, whatever. You could have quite a bit of stuff in there. Just probably wouldn't have like your gun sitting in there or whatever, because moisture and like the fine moisture and the dust could get in there and rust stuff out. But other than that, I mean, they're pretty. They say that it's weatherproof, so it kind of holds that stuff back, but it can still sneak in there, if you will. Um, but whenever I was researching those beds, I seen them once before on a YouTube channel, and as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh man, I think I need that in my life. Um, but they're really cool, like, I mean, whenever I think about it, for one, I could have like tools and stuff on one side, and then the other side, just my extra hunting stuff that I uh want to keep somewhat waterproof or whatever, but uh don't want to fill my back seat, for example.
Right.
But they're pretty cool though. I mean, they're really cool little things, and I want to deck my truck out like that. The side racks, I was never really interested in them until I started really researching them, and I'm like, ah, man, those would be pretty cool. uh I don't know. I mean, it'd be different, but I guess the other reason that I'd want the side racks, because if I got that that decked toolbox, I'd kind of want something to protect my gear, as far as like all my, because you'd raise, okay, I'm kind of going all over the place, but you would raise your bed level up a little bit. So like whenever you're throwing totes back there, there's a higher center of gravity, if you will, or they're higher up. And so I was like, well, I feel like I'd kind of need those side racks. So my totes or whatever,
Right. Because the bed height of your Tacoma isn't all that high, anyways. But then you throw that drawer system in the bottom, and so you lose whatever that is, 6, 8 inches on the bottom of your floor of your bed. And that's going to raise those totes up higher, so they're not going to stay in as easy.
yeah, exactly. And um, so yeah, that's kind of like my whole thought behind it, is just kind of help keep all my hunting stuff. But another thing that I want to do for that example though is I want to actually get like a little, I don't know, 6 foot or 8 foot trailer to pull behind it to carry all my hunting stuff, and kind of just live out of that trailer a little bit. I mean, as far as is like having all my stuff in one spot, and that way I don't have to necessarily worry about it falling out or whatever the case may be. So I would like to do that in the future. I'm still in the mindset, and I'm okay with buying the trailer. Like some people might be like, well, why wouldn't you just get a camper? But I'm still in that mindset where I like sleeping out of the tent still a little bit.
Right.
Uh, I mean, we've kind of talked about the whole camper versus tent, and my reasonings for it. Uh, I mean, the biggest thing is I don't have a place to park it around my house, and I'd have to go pay for it to set somewhere most of the time. So to me, I'm like, well, I'll just camper it up or tent it up
Right.
and not have to worry about that fee. But but besides all that, I mean, eventually I'll probably get a camper and probably won't I'll probably enjoy it for sure. But for now, I just like the tent thing. It's still fun for me, and I don't know. There's just something about roughing it, but kind of getting away from the vehicle thing. But that's how I want to deck my Toyota out. Another thing, and I feel like this is a good hybrid. Now you can't go as fast, but I feel like it's a good hybrid between a four wheeler or a side by side. Is I want to in the future I want to invest in a Jeep for hunting. Well, I mean I probably do more stuff with it than that, but for hunting I want to invest in a Jeep and take that around. But when we borrowed your father-in-law's a couple years back, I was pretty impressed just the way, I mean, there was nothing I don't think it was lifted or anything. Tires were
Yeah,
nice, but
it had a 2-inch lift on it,
oh, it did have a 2-inch lift. Okay.
and then it had a body lift too.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Maybe I'm wrong about that then. I thought for some reason it didn't even have a lift, but regardless, it was still, I mean, it got around the woods good. It was kind of the perfect little tight though for two full grown men and all their hunting stuff. It was kind of a little tight, but
But the
but the
nice
nice,
thing,
go ahead.
the nice thing about it is that if you're hunting like the later seasons, like Colorado's third or fourth season, the one thing is you got a heater in it. And if you're planning to use it like a razor or a four wheeler, those don't have a heater.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually that was kind of what I was going to bring up is it's kind of a nice hybrid. You can't quite go as fast as a four wheeler but you're not freezing your butt off in the later season and you're in a nice warm Jeep.
Yeah.
And like I said, for me and Joe, I know most of the time we might use the vehicle to hit another ridge or something, but we're pretty much out of our vehicles. We've kind of talked about experimenting some road hunting occasions or
Right.
whatnot, but most of the time we're out of the vehicle and just hunting out off in the woods. So for us
Yeah.
it works out where we don't really need a four wheeler but I feel like a four wheeler kind of has its place and I want to invest in one of those too. I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to like buy all this stuff and then just take it up hunting with me. So it's
Yeah.
all at my disposal, I guess.
Right. And yeah, and it's kind of funny too, because we talk about using the four wheeler, which and all those which are great because it's you're trying to cut time down and you're trying to get to other areas. And we've talked about having a plan of like 4, 10 different areas that you want to go hunt, and that's where a four wheeler like would be very helpful if you have like within a geographical area you can go hit different areas fairly easy with the four wheeler without having to travel 60 miles. That's another scenario. But uh as far as like a hunting rig goes too, I kind of, in a way, I'd like to. So I got a little Explorer. I kind of want to get it kind of built up as like a little bit more on the overland side of things, and just and with that being said too, is getting one of those rooftop tents, so that way like, and then try to get down to the bare minimum, so that way camp isn't all that much to pack up. I can pretty much just hunt out of the Explorer. And my end goal with it would be maybe put a little bit of a lift on it, and then I don't want a big one. I kind of have this, I guess, this ratio of lift to trail difficulty, because like the bigger the lift I put on it, the more I'm going to be like, oh, bigger tires, and then I'm going to be, oh well, here's this extreme 4x4 trail. I'm going to go putter down here, to get to this spot, and then get in a situation to where I'm going to need another lifted truck to get into where I'm at to get me out of if I break down. And
Yeah.
so in my head, I'm kind of, I'm playing this like lift ratio to how, like, okay, I can get down a little bit more of a trail, but at least I'm not getting someplace where it's going to be an extreme amount of energy to get me out of. And, but, in trying to talk about the best, or hunting truck or whatever too. Like one of the things I thought about is the whole scenario, or not scenario, the whole dilemma argument of are you a Ford guy, are you a Dodge guy, are you a Chevy guy, are you a Toyota guy? And probably should have done a little bit more research, but I feel like if you want to get the best bang for your buck, and it's kind of with anything, you spend a little bit more on it, but like the best bang for your buck for a hunting vehicle that's going to be reliable and kind of low maintenance is going to be a Toyota. um I feel like they're going to take a beating and keep going, but whatever. End of day too is whatever you're gonna take, do your due diligence and keep it up, do the upkeep on it, so that way you're not out there in the woods and break down and get stuck, whatever it is you're driving,
Yeah.
as far as a rig goes.
I mean, last year we both had 2500s out there, so
Right.
I mean, whatever works. But you are right, though. I feel like the Tacoma. Well, I was thinking a close second would be the Honda pickup.
Oh, really?
No, I'm kidding, dude.
I was gonna say, all right, maybe. I haven't seen one out yet, but
I think it's Honda that makes them. They're out. They have a pickup, but yeah, I think that thing would get stuck in a pothole. So
probably on a Corolla chassis.
um yeah. But going down that rabbit hole though, the Chevy Colorados, they're pretty nice trucks. They're kind of a lot like the Tacoma. They're about the same size as the Tacomas. Then the Ford Rangers. There's yeah, kind of getting in the weeds on that, but I
Yeah.
mean they're all kind of the same build and meant for a little bit of off-roading. And then I mean if you do more to it, like give it the lift and the bigger tires and stuff, they can even do more. So um I don't have you paid attention to those new Ford Rangers that been coming out?
I haven't. I haven't really been seeing them around either, though.
I've seen a couple of them around. I probably don't see them that much, but I'll be honest. I mean, maybe the inside is a little bit different, but if you don't catch the Ford emblem somewhere, that in my opinion, they kind of look a lot like the Chevy Colorado.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they really mimic the Chevy Colorado. But at the end of the day, especially nowadays with all the technology that goes in these vehicles, I really think that there used to be manufacturers that all had their own benefit. But one thing I've noticed in the last 10 years or so, give or take, I mean, the emblem's just an emblem. They all have pretty good technology in them, and they all can do the job in some way or some sort for that smaller truck uh side of it. I mean, I'm with you. I have a Tacoma, and I really like it, and I'm like I said, I'm hoping to do some work on it and build it up and kind of turn it into my hunting truck. And some of the stuff that I said earlier, I mean, I'm excited to get it done. But yeah, those other trucks are pretty nice too, and would be good hunting trucks also. But I mean, I think we're trying to do our best with the topic, but I mean, quite honestly, I mean, it's kind of hard because there's just so much subjective input.
Right. Well, and like the
You
other
know,
thing too is all along that note is what you like. Like what it it's as to really put what yeah, like like my Explorer, I like that. I like it for the one reason I can just, if I get someplace, I can just sleep in the back and I don't have to put up a tent or anything. But so like there's a whole list of stuff that you got to find what's important, and then just that's what you do.
yeah, and that is kind of a nice benefit. I mean, you can throw down your seats and throw mattress back there, and I mean your vehicle is your tent.
Right.
I mean that's pretty beneficial, especially in those colder months. Makes it real nice.
Yeah.
I've always been kind of more of a pickup guy, but I was gonna add though, like having those racks in the back of the truck, I could do that overland stuff too, or with the tent,
Yeah.
which I guess before I ever thought of it being a possibility, I never really cared. But after doing the research for this topic and seeing how it all kind of goes together and the overland tents, I'm like, maybe I do like that idea a little bit, just be able to sleep up there on the.
Well, sorry not to cut you off, but one of the things I kind of wanted to throw in there that's kind of been playing in the back of my mind a little bit over the last, probably 6, 8 months is trying, like you talked about a trailer, but I've seen a couple of trailers where they're like the old military trailers, and they'll take those and then uh, convert them into an overlanding type of deal. And that way they have like a trailer for all their gear, and then they throw those rooftop tents on top of it, and then that way their car is kind of freed up to, or their vehicle is freed up to be able to run around, and then they just use that as their home base to come back to, and everything is right there. They don't have to load up the truck; they just load up the trailer. And what I wanted to say is, with those trailers, they can kind of take a beating. Like if you wanted to get someplace a little tight, and that you couldn't get if you were hauling a camp trailer into, like if you could scratch it up a little bit, you could drag it over rocks and be okay. Whereas if you
Yeah,
try to drag your camp trailer over rocks, you're going to be regretting life.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, you kind of brought up a bunch of different points because I also see I've seen that before, or kind of like that trailer. So I guess that's the question because I know there, and sorry, you told me the name of it before, but there's a trailer out there that pops up into a tent, but you can like throw your four-wheeler on top of it. And I
Yeah.
can't remember the name of that tent off the top of my
uh,
head.
why I can't either. Oh,
I feel like it starts with an F.
jumping jack.
Jumping jack. It
Jumping
does not
jack.
start with an F at all. But the jumping jack, yeah. The jumping jack, I really like that idea. And that would solve a lot of problems too. I mean, you'd have your tent on your trailer and four-wheeler on top of it. I don't know. I really like that idea, but kind of with what you said about freeing up your truck, that's the one thing that kind of steers me away from having the overland tent on top of the vehicle is just that, like, you wanted to take your vehicle out. I mean, you got to take down your tent and do the whole thing and then take your vehicle
Right.
to the, that's one thing where I like with the way, we do it is, I mean, we pop up with a tent and the tent's there for the weekend and the vehicles are kind of free for the most part.
Right.
Even though I mean, we try not to use them that much, but once in a while we'll jump in there and go check out an area or whatever. I mean, I don't know, thinking about it, we probably do it more often than I trying to say that we do, but but either way, like, I mean, and I guess that kind of, so we're not really like clarifying, or I don't feel like we're really clarifying anything or being like, oh, this is what you want to do and this is how you want to do it. I guess we're just kind of talking about tons of options, and it kind of just depends on what kind
Yeah.
of hunting you do
And
that makes
dreaming.
it, and dreaming a little bit. Cause I mean, I feel like I have 10 different scenarios. I mean, do you do the overland rooftop tent on your vehicle and then have that trailer and a four-wheeler in the trailer, pull out the four-wheeler and
Right.
use that for the weekend, or do you have your tent on your trailer, whether it's a jumping jack or that that trail trailer that you were talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many options there, and it just kind of depends on what benefits you the most, or however you want to do it. I mean, and you don't even need a trailer or any of that, but
Right.
I know for me, like, that's something that I want to build up to, because I just like the idea, especially with archery hunting, because I probably won't be doing too many, like, staying out all September, but because archery hunting is a month long, I'll be kind of jumping in and going. So, like, if I have all my stuff in my trailer, I don't have to load it up every weekend.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of one of my thoughts to the benefit of having the trailer. Is just I have all my stuff in there, and it's all there. I'm not like, oh, what did I forget? Or taking it in and out, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to run into that this year, because we've talked about it in the past, but I'm going to have 2 to 3 day hunting weekends, and trying to hunt as much as I can within that month, but I'm going to have a lot of those 2 to 3 day weekends. And so making sure that I have everything I need, and putting it in my garage, taking it out of my garage, putting it in my garage, taking it out of my garage, like, it's going to get chaotic. So having a trailer to put it all in and leave it in there for the whole month would be pretty sweet.
Right.
So in the future, I do plan on doing that, but for now, I'm going to have to do it the hard way, the good old fashioned way.
Right. And like yeah, and that's so I guess you kind of go to kind of clear it up again. If we bring that into what we do, like, so what is the best hunt rig? Well, right now it's my Explorer, and and your truck, your Toyota, your whatever, like that's,
Whatever I'm driving.
yeah,
I'm
whatever
driving.
you're driving.
Well, this year I'll be driving a Tundra. Next year, we'll see what I drive next year. But
But I guess like what I kind of clear that up is you know we have these dreams of what we want, and we're going to work towards them, but our best situation is what we have right now. That's, like, we can't, we can improve upon what situation we have, but it's not like we're going out and buying a brand new whatever to go hunting in, and putting all the bells and whistles on it just yet. Like, that's the goal some days, that maybe to have all that, but our best is what we have, and we're going to make do with it, and we're going to hunt hard with it.
yeah, well, and with what you're saying, that's why. So to clarify, I have a Toyota Tundra and a Toyota Tacoma, and the Tacoma right now is my wife's vehicle, but we're gonna be upgrading and doing all kinds of moves and stuff here in the future, and so I'm gonna end up with the Tacoma as an extra vehicle, or my vehicle, and that's the plan right now. And so I say that because with what you said about taking the older vehicle, I would kind of cringe if I went down to the car lot right now and I'm like, all right, I want that 2021 Toyota Tacoma or
True.
whatever, then
That's the
go out
truth,
there
man.
and scratch it all up and stuff. Like, I'm not too interested in that, but I ain't gonna be too butthurt uh fixing up my 2010 Tacoma and lifting it, and so I
That's
mean, but
something.
that's that again. I mean, all this is subjective and personal preference. I mean,
Right.
if you have the money and you don't care about scratching your brand new vehicles, go out and buy a brand new vehicle. I mean,
I will say
up to
that is a
you.
conversation that me and Jen have. And I was like, oh, I really want a new truck. Like, oh, they're so nice, they're so cool. I want one. But then I get thinking about it, and I'm like, well, if I get a truck, it's not like it's going to be like my daily driver. Like, it's gonna have multiple purposes, because it's a truck. So you're going to haul stuff in it, and you're going to pull stuff with it, and then it's also going to be a hunting rig. And so, going, when you start thinking of hunting, you're going to get yourself in situations to where you're going to, try not to take it down a road that's going to scratch it all up. But likelihood is you're going to end up someplace where it's going to be a little tight. And if you had a brand new 2021 whatever, like, you know, you're going to be cringing as you hear those pinstripings being made, scratched
Yeah,
into your paint job, you know, like, so yeah, like I get that's totally a thing too, where it's like, well,
it's
older
yeah,
vehicles kind of nicer, you know, for those situations.
yeah. Well, and I think personally, I think it's kind of fun to have the older vehicles to kind of fix them up in that way, you know, where I don't know, you kind of take something that's older or whatever, but you make it cool again,
Right.
making making Tacomas great again.
Someone's got to do it.
So I don't know. I mean that yeah, but like I mean I think me and you align that way for sure with the with taking older vehicles or doing the most with the older vehicles. But I mean, you know, I don't know. That's just kind of the way we've always done it. I mean, you I want to say a couple years ago or a year ago. I mean, you had the mechanic on your truck before you even took it out, and
Yeah, right
you know,
before the Explorer, right before season, a couple of years ago, I was out scouting and I was driving down the hill, and all of a sudden there was a pop, and then my truck just died. Luckily, I was just up here in Bountiful, so I pulled it back down to the house, and I started going through everything, like going through the fuel pump, going through, you know, doing research, buying new sensors, throwing sensors in, and because they would turn over, it just wouldn't start.
hmm,
And so I had no clue what it was. And then finally, I was like, oh, I, I, I was like, check the fuses. And I blew one of the main fuses. So I had to go through and find where the short was. And there's a short in the main wiring harness. And so I had to patch that up. And
that sounds like fun.
it was fun. uh,
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's kind of all part of the fun and the joy of everything and hunting and you know just kind of doing making those fun projects and sometimes they're not necessarily projects that you in that you
Want to do?
want to do, but there's still something. There's still projects.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think whenever it comes down to vehicles, I mean, it's just whatever you can get out there and you know get you to your spot that you want to hunt and you know, I mean, obviously, if you build it up more, you could go further. You could take those trails easier. You feel more secure that you're not gonna get stuck. But at the end of the day, it's whatever you can get out there to get out to the woods. But like I
Right.
said, this topic, you know, it has a lot of your own preferences and you know subjectiveness. That I mean, it's I don't know if subjectiveness is a word, but we're using it tonight. Uh, you know, I mean, it's all up to you. But I guess like me and Joe, we're just kind of throwing them out there and kind of giving a bunch of ideas and I'm excited about that decked toolbox though. I mean, I that's something that I was like whenever we decided that we were going to talk about this subject, I was like, "Oh, I know what I want to talk about." And I don't know if I did a very good job selling it, but it's really cool. I mean, just the toolboxes themselves. Like I just think about it and I'm like I carry all my especially for archery and I mean, there's probably a handful of stuff for hunting also or for rifle hunting but archery, I mean, I could carry all my extra stuff that I need as far as like you know my broadhead toolbox or like broadheads, extra arrows, whatever it is, you know, whatever. Maybe even a bow press in there, like one of those field bow presses or something. But I could carry it all in there where it'd be safe enough, you know, where it's not gonna get damaged or but it's
Right.
also not in the way and that's kind of just for the outdoor stuff, you know, and then like go fishing or whatever, be able to put all your fishing stuff in there. And it's kind of just one of those real convenient toolboxes bed toolboxes to carry whatever, carry all your goodies. And you can
Right.
lock it up too if you want or if you need to. But if your bed locks up, then you can't get to it with if the bed, you know what I'm
Is
saying? So yeah, yeah. So if your bed locks up, you probably don't need the locks, but if it doesn't lock up, then it's good to have the locks.
right.
But yeah, man, I don't know. That's pretty much all I got for what I would like to do.
Yeah, that's yeah. Just second. It's hard. Like you get talking about what's the best rig, and I know it's a generic question, but it's just whatever you got, more or less. And yeah, you can. We did a lot of dreaming tonight, and some of those dreams will come true as far as our setups go in the future. But that's what we're working on. And but as far yeah, like brand specific, it's hard to say. It's like they're all capable. It's just whatever you like.
Yeah.
But and that's kind of all I got too. As the boiled down to what the juice of the topics would be. And like there's some very capable rigs out there. And then yeah, it just boils down to what you like, what you want, and what you think is needed. But at the end of the day, for the struggling hunters, it's whatever gets us to where we're going hunting.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Which is coming close, man. You got 2 weeks.
Yep.
I have about 4 weeks. 3 weeks. 4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks. So
Nice.
it's coming fast, a lot faster than I was thinking it would, or I don't know. I mean, when we hunt in October and November, it feels like those hunts kind of come around pretty fast, but starting with this archery thing, it's coming a lot faster. So
Yeah.
I feel like I'm so underprepared. Ah, man, yeah. I don't know. It's a kind of a whole nother story, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm prepared enough to, I mean, I'll make it out there, but just got so much stuff going on and haven't been training as hard as I wanted to. I had all these big plans of how I was going to train and get ready for the big hunt and haven't really been doing it. So, uh, it's all right though. We'll get better next time. So,
Right.
but, but with that said, are you good? You got anything else?
Nope. I'm good. I'm
All right,
good.
guys. I'll get us out of here. Thanks for listening to the show. There you have it for the best kind of vehicle to take out in the woods. We're kind of all over the place, but I think you get the
Yeah.
gist of the idea is we're dreamers.
Yeah. We are.
and this one was a fun one. I definitely like talking about that kind of stuff. I'm a little bit of a gearhead, maybe not as much as I'd like to be all the time, but I like to talk a little bit about trucks and lifts and all kinds of good stuff. So um with that said, thanks for listening. uh Make sure you give a comment if there's something that you'd like to hear us talk about in the future. And I think we are out of here. So thanks for listening to episode 68, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you
Later,
guys.
guys.